Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, everybody, last meeting we already talked about phonemes. What are phonemes? Phonemes are language sounds which are meaningfully different one compared to each other. And then there are consonant phonemes, there are vowel phonemes, and there are also diphthong phonemes. The way the way to find phonemes in a certain language, in a particular language, is by doing analysis. The analysis, so-called minimal pair analysis. Okay, so two words which are almost identical, but only has got one element or one segmental sound which are different, and the difference is distinctive. Distinctive means significantly different, so they are phonemes. Okay, I think you have found phonemes in English, consonant phonemes, vowel phonemes, and diphthong phonemes in English. So thank you very much for the efforts that you have done. And today I only want to explain you that it turns out that phonemes, a certain phoneme sometimes has got variation or variants which are called allophones. For example, in English, p is a phoneme. How could you say that p is a phoneme? Because p in pen, okay, you know pen, something you used to write, is different if you compare to 10. 10 is a number after 9. So we can say that t and p are phonemes in English. And then the realizations of phoneme p is, the realization, there are some at least there are two variations of phoneme p. When p occur at the end of a syllable or as a coda, okay, you still remember coda, so phoneme p is realized as the ordinary p. For example, stop. The word stop consists of as an onset, t as also an onset. Us is a double onset in stop. Okay, the first onset is us and the second onset is t. And then nucleus o, and then coda p. And then phoneme p is realized as ordinary p. But when p occurs as an onset, for example in top, okay, in top, also I see p, right, in paper, for example. So let me take a piece of paper here. So when p occurs as a coda, it is realized as ordinary p, like stop. But when p occurs as an onset at the initial positions of a word or the initial positions of a syllable, it is realized as aspirated p, as if there is h sound. For example, in paper, you see. So when this stop, so the vibration is not that much, but when p occurs at the initial position, like in paper, you see that what you call that the toilet, the tissue, not the toilet tissue, but the facial tissue, vibrates. Okay? Okay, to sum up, phoneme p turns out has got two allophones. When it occurs at the final position, it is realized as ordinary p. But when it occurs at the initial position or as an onset, it is realized as aspirated p. The similar thing happens in Arabic. You know, hijaiyah, huruf hijaiyah, alif, ba, ta, tha, and so on. Ta, when it occurs as an onset, like in ta'aruf, for example, so it's realized as the ordinary ta. It is realized as an ordinary ta. But when ta occurs at the final position as the final part of syllable, for example in tabat yada abi lahabi wa tab, so it should be pronounced like that, right? Tabats. Not tabats, but there is a slight s after ta. Am I right? Okay. So to sum up, in Arabic, allophone t, when it occurs as a code as an onset, it is realized an ordinary t. But when it occurs as the final positions of a syllable, it is realized as a t with a slight s. Okay, get the point? Let's come to Indonesian. B is a phoneme in Indonesian, like in bola and pola. Okay, you can say b and p are phonemes. B and p are phonemes in Indonesian. B can occur as an onset, like in bawa, bisa, bila, bukan. But when b occurs as an onset, it is not realized as b, but it is realized as p. For example, in Indonesian language, what day is it after Jumat? After Jumat, yes, it is Sabtu. Nobody will say it as Sabtu. Okay? Like, what is the Indonesian equivalent for cause and effect? Okay? Sebab. Okay? Sebab. Nobody. Sebab and akibat, cause and effect. Okay? For SEBAB, Indonesian people will never say sebab. Okay? You say phoneme b, when it occurs as an initial position, it occurs as a ordinary b. When it occurs as as the coda in the final position, it is realized as p. And in my book, there are some examples of allophones of a certain phonemes, either in English, Indonesian, and Arabic. You can read the explanations of phonemes and allophones in those three languages. Okay, let's come to another discussion. Distinctive features. So, in phonetics, we already talked about the manners of articulation and the places of articulations of consonants, and then the articulations of consonants. So when we want to differ b and p, we can say b is a plosive bilabial plus plosive plus bilabial, and it is plus fortis. And what about b? B is plus plosive. Okay, b is plus plosive plus bilabial and then plus fortis. And then B is plus plosive plus bilabial minus fortis because it is Lenis, right? So they are the characteristics of a certain phoneme or certain sound, and then the Lenis versus fortis make the what you call that p and b distinctive. So the characters are called distinctive features. Let's try again. Let's try to go over your books, read the distinctive features of phonemes, and then inshallah you will get well informed with that. Okay, everybody, hopefully what I am telling you can a bit help you to explain what is meant by phonemes and allophones. Okay, and I will also give you something to do as assignment later. Okay, see you next week. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.